And with that said, you guys ready for your headliner? That is absolutely perfect, guys. We all know her from being a writer on Conan and her appearances on Conan and her podcast, The Jackie and Laurie Show. Give it up for Laurie Kilmartin, everybody.
Thanks, you guys. Keep it going for the fellas. Cody and Nick. Right on. Thank you so much for being here tonight, guys. I'm recording an album, and I've recorded all the shows this week, and I've decided that the best show is gonna be the album. And, this is your chance to plant your flag in comedy non-history. Before I even start, I think other people had this experience. I got to the club at around 10 after 7, and I climbed up the steps from Battery. Okay, everyone needs to calm down. All right, I'm not alone. There was... And if you came a different way, wow, you missed an incredible experience. Sir, I'm glad you're back. There was a giant human shit on one of the steps leading up to the Punchline. And I was both disgusted and impressed. I was like, that is a nice one. It's large, it's crisp, it has definition. It was pretty stunning if you saw it, right? Unbelievable. And I know it's like, oh, it's probably a homeless person, but it also could have been someone who just did that in a toilet and was like, wow, this needs an audience. I can't flush this shit. People need to see this. And then across from the shit, does anyone remember what was on the other step? A Starbucks cup. What an incredible visual metaphor for America right now. It was really amazing. So you guys stepped over that and came to the show. So you're already heroes to me. Yes. Mm-hmm. I know. Some people probably fled back to Walnut Creek, but not you guys. You're tough. I like it. I was in my car recently, and a guy jumped into the back seat of my car, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Mike." And Mike thought I was his Uber driver. But for a terrifying second, I thought that Mike was my murderer. I was like, wow, what a courteous killer. Thanks for introducing yourself to me before the slaughter. Of course, we figured it all out. But I was so relieved not to be murdered, I ended up taking Mike to the airport. Yeah. I had to pick him up on Tuesday. I am a single mother, and I recently tried mushrooms for the first time. Not because I wanted to get high, I'm actually hoping to lose custody of my son. Could one of you please notify the authorities that you heard that joke? I can't do it anymore. I am pro-choice, and it turns out I made the wrong choice. That happens, ladies. My son is growing up so fast, it's hard to believe. I remember when he was so tiny, he fit on the front steps of a Catholic church. I set him down, I walked away. The priest ran after me. He's like, I like him young, but not that young. Oh, boo that priest. Exactly, guys. How dare he? My kid's always stressing me out, though. When he was 8 years old, we would have multiple discussions on masturbation etiquette. At 8. I was like, please do not knock on mom's door when she's masturbating. That's my time. Get your own goddamn apple juice. I'm working on my own juice box. worst part about parenting is spending time with your children. It's unbelievably draining. This is just one example. I arranged for my son to learn how to rock climb. It was like a class he was going to take and like go up an actual cliff, you know. And he's like eight or 9 years old. And I was going to go, while he did that, sit in the car and text. And that to me seemed like a great Sunday afternoon for both of us. So he wouldn't rock climb unless I did it first, right? So then I was like up the side of this mountain, and I slipped, and I was dangling from a rope, and I thought I was gonna die, and my only response inside was, good. I'm sick of this shit. I even tried to hit my head on the side of the rock. Then I looked at my son, and he was freaking out. I was like, wait a minute, what about him? But then I thought, you know what? If I died now, this would be great for my son. Because he would grow up sad and fucked up. And you know who likes sad, fucked up men? All women. I'm like, if I die now, my son will spend the rest of his life knee-deep in sympathetic pussy. And trust me, that's what every mom really wants for her son. That's why I got pregnant, was giving up sympathy pussy. Yeah, there was no death involved. His hours got cut at Target. And I was like, let me make it worse. Are there other single parents here tonight? Yeah, right on. A few. The rest of you, congratulations on your healthy relationships. Don't get cocky. Statistically, some of you will be single parents. Sorry, I got bad news for you. Love dies and children live. Remember that, ladies? Next time you let a guy ejaculate inside you, ask yourselves, do I want to be that suicidal rock climber I saw at the comedy show? You don't? So the clappers back there, do you date much? No. No, okay. You sound angry. I get it. I don't date much. When I do date, I try to have sex on the first date. That's not even a joke. I just like to get the word out. I have time for a couple dates tonight. Between shows, yes. It's not because I'm promiscuous. It's because I'm efficient. My babysitter costs $16.50 an hour. I can't afford to go on dates that don't end in penetration. It's fiscally irresponsible. One time I was on a 5-hour date. At the end, the guy tried to kiss me goodnight. I'm like, oh, no, you don't. You either take off your pants and join me in my garage, or you give me $82.50 in cash. He did both. That was nice. What a gentleman, yes. Rounded up to 85. Whenever I do have a boyfriend, I never introduce my son to him as a boyfriend. I always say, oh, honey, this is your uncle. And then when I break up with a guy, I tell my son, oh, honey, your uncle died. Yeah, it's tough, because once I had a really good month on OkCupid, which means, of course, my son had the worst month of his entire life. Yeah, he lost 11 uncles. And 2 aunts. Yeah. And a grandpa. But that guy actually died. I'm on OkCupid, and this guy messaged me. I'm 54, and he goes, 54? Wow, you look 50. Wow, slow down, sir. Let me take a second and accept this amazing compliment. That I look 4 years younger. Thank you. You look like you'll never be naked in my garage. He was, but that's not the point of that joke. The point is, sometimes men don't know how to give older women compliments. You know, they like to say things like, oh, you look good for your age. And I just want to let you know, you don't need to add a prepositional phrase to the end of a perfectly good compliment. I don't want to hear you look good for your age. I'd rather hear you don't look as shitty as you should. Thank you. Thank you. One time after a show, a guy came up to me and goes, wow, you're really funny for a woman. No. Yes. Yeah. But the next thing he said to me was, wow, you stab really good for a white person. That compliment I took. I did. I wish I had 2 kids, because then they would hang out together. Like, I am my son's only playmate, you know? My whole life, up until recently, he's always focused on me. Mom, you want to play with me? No. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have nothing in common. I don't like Minecraft, you hate Pinterest. I don't want to fucking play with you. You're boring. I got you Legos, build something. Build a dad. My son's like, I want a brother. I'm like, honey, I want to date a black guy too, but that's not how you make that happen. My son's best friend is named Marvin Jr. And Marvin was at the house, and they played video games for 6 hours straight without acknowledging me. And I watched 12 episodes of Veep uninterrupted. And it was the greatest day of my entire life. And then Marvin goes, I gotta go. And then I spent 20 minutes trying to talk a 9-year-old boy into moving in with me. I'm like, please don't leave me, Marvin. Does your mom give you timeouts? What a bitch. You'll be Marvin Sr. at this house, I promise you. He left. One time I was tucking my son into bed. He goes, Mom, you should have had another baby. I'm like, honey, I didn't even want to have you. Now sleep tight and happy birthday. I almost had another baby. I did have a miscarriage, but I was 46, so I was like, phew. They're not all tragedies, guys. But I was still traumatized. I was like, God, why'd you make me pregnant at 46? And God was like, I thought you were 4 years younger. Jackass. But are there a lot of parents here tonight? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. You guys know that. Because kids are awful. At every age, but for different reasons, right? Like when they're toddlers, they shout every single word they say. They're like teeny, tiny, elderly people. And one time, my son and I were on a plane, and he had the window seat, and the plane takes off, and he starts shouting, clouds! Clouds, Mom, clouds! Mom, clouds, clouds, Mom, clouds! Non-stop at that pitch for minutes, right? People on the plane start to look at me. One guy in front of me says to his friend, so I could hear it, he goes, oh my God, could that kid be any louder? And I snapped. I go, yeah, he can. Would you like me to make that happen? Because all I would have to do is pull down my kid's window shade. If you think clouds is loud, wait till you hear no clouds. We are 4 minutes into a 6-hour flight. You want to dance, bitch? I don't care. I'll tell him the pilot is a monster. I'll hide his teddy bear. This will be the longest flight of your goddamn life. You'll pray we're a Malaysian Airlines flight. The first one, not the second one. That's too soon, of course. My kid, when he was in kindergarten, they had homework in kindergarten. 2 pages a night, and then you turn in a packet of 8 pages on Friday. And it was to teach the kids that life was a series of meaningless chores. And they should have killed themselves in preschool. Okay. So 1 week, I didn't do with him at all. I just blew it off. I was not having it. And then Thursday night comes, and I was like, oh, God. I either have to do 8 pages with him now, or I could put him to bed, drink a bottle of wine, put the pencil in my non-dominant hand, and write exactly like a 5-year-old. I think if you have a boy, like the most important job if you're a parent of a boy is you have to teach him to treat women with respect, right? Oh, okay, no. Whatever, guys. I didn't mean to startle anyone with a crazy notion. I'm sorry. Wow. That was shocking. Well, this will be new information for you guys. That's exciting. We get to learn a lot tonight. Since my kid was little, I've been teaching him about consent, and I would use the iPhone to do it because that's all he ever wanted. You know, like he'd be 4 or 5, he'd be like, "Mommy, can I have the iPhone?" And I would say, "Yes, you have my consent." Then he would grab it. And that models the behavior of a man asking a woman for something that he wants, waiting until she says yes before he proceeds, right? So one time, I decided to throw him a little curveball. And he said, "Mommy, can I have the iPhone?" And I said, "No." And he said, "But I want it." And I said, "Well, I don't want you to have it. I don't want you to touch it. And I don't feel safe right now." And then he reached for it anyway, and I smacked his hand. I said, "No means no, you rapist. Go to your room." He was grounded for a long time. The other thing you have to worry about if you have a boy is if you're going to circumcise or not, right? Or maybe not you guys. I have no idea what you do, honestly. I did not want to circumcise my son. My feeling is that's his stuff, right? He could circumcise himself if he wanted to. I mean, you can, self-circumcision is a Boy Scout badge. It is. It's the last one before Eagle Scout. Yeah, why do you think there's hardly any Eagle Scouts? They go through the whole program and they're told, "Oh, wait, one last thing. You need to go into the woods and come back with your foreskin in a square knot." It's awful. Next time you meet an Eagle Scout, show some goddamn respect. But the doctor goes, the pediatrician goes, "You have to." She goes, "It's a hygiene issue. When you remove the foreskin, the penis is easier to clean." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that penises were difficult to clean." Because every penis I've ever seen looks like it was polished for hours. Earlier that day. Like, some of these penises are so bright, I can't look directly at them because I'll damage my retinas. And I have to look through my solar eclipse shoebox and just peer at the penis. And if anyone should be complaining about difficult to clean genitals, it's women, right? We have flaps and corners, nooks, crannies. I have a vault that's hidden behind a sliding bookcase. There's a lot going on down here. But guess what? I clean it every day. It's often the best hour of my day. How lazy are you guys that you'd rather cut part of it off and clean it? Plus, I've never heard a guy complain that his penis was dirty. "Oh, I'd love to put it in you, but it's filthy tonight. Oh, it's covered in dust and spackle and sand dollars, and I got a parking ticket on Thursday." Awful. I wish any baby that came out of your body you could put back in your body at any time during its life. That would help out when you're trying to discipline your kids when they're older. You know, like my son is giving me back talk. He'll be like, you clean up your room or I will shove you right back in my vagina. And I'll tell all your friends where you're at too. The room would be spotless. That would save a lot of money on airfare if you could do that, right? Great news, family, we're going on vacation. Bad news, mom's got 1 plane ticket. Everybody in. No kicking or I will put you in grandma. Yeah. That's right. She's got a legacy vagina. That thing still works. You get in me, I get in her. We travel like Russian nesting dolls. And we just get out of each other like this, a baggage claim. If people are listening on the album, I'm just doing squats right now at the... And I have to do 2 more. I won't be able to sleep tonight because it won't be an even number. Okay, now I feel good. I actually just did a set and I'm exhausted. Are there childless people here tonight? All right, enough. Okay, just... I hope you all get pregnant. That's my gypsy curse I just put on you. Here's the thing, it's tough to articulate how much you love your own child, right? When the parents say to like someone who doesn't have a kid, right? Do you like you don't have kids, sir, right? Do you have a pet? No. Oh, you don't care for anything. Okay. Do you have a pet over here? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what's your name? Pet for me. Okay, this got confusing all of a sudden. And complicated. I guess your name? Kevin. Okay, Kevin. This feels oddly hostile. We'll see how it goes. But and you, this is what it's like to be a mom, if I can just give you this example. Like, imagine how much you love your pet, and then just multiply that love by 0.7. And divide that by 10. What I love about this being a tech town is you guys got that joke at 0.7. Some places I just have to keep going till I say -8. Oh, okay. I love dogs. I'm a dog lover. But I do feel like... Yeah. Are you as well, sir? You like a dog. Do you have a dog? Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Let me talk to you. Because here's the thing. I actually feel like people love their dogs a little too much right now. And it's a little fetishy, right? And potentially dangerous. And I would love to do an intervention if I could do an intervention with you tonight. Is that okay? Sure. And what's your name? David. David. Okay. See how easy that was, Kevin? Yeah. Thank you, David. I'm sorry. That turd really just got me going. It really did. I can't control myself now. And so, David, what kind of a dog do you have? A Labradoodle. Okay, all right. Yeah, oh, I know it's a mix. I know that's not a real animal. I know that. It's some fucking Frankenstein veterinarian came up with that thing. Okay. And what's your Labradoodle's name?
Buster.
Buster. Okay, that's kind of old school. I like that. And so now I'm gonna ask you a question. So say your house catches on fire, David. It's an inferno, right? Everyone you love escapes. Is that your wife next to you?
No.
Okay. Well, let's say she's there. And she also escapes. And let's hope there's no wife at all to worry about, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. My point is your house is on fire, and you're standing outside watching it, And you can only think, wow, what a miracle. I survived. And then you hear Buster, your Labradoodle, barking from inside the fiery inferno. David, would you run back in to save Buster's life?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to die. No, that's the wrong answer, David. Yeah, it is. Didn't you see This Is Us? You're going to die and ruin 7 generations of actors' lives. You got to let Buster go. And wow, you changed your mind so quickly. Your convictions aren't strongly held, David. But this goes for all of you guys. All of your dogs are completely replaceable. Okay, I'll take it. I understand. This is hard to hear. I have proof. My dad, over the course of his lifetime, had 5 black labs named Pepsi. 5. One Pepsi would die, he'd go right to the pound and get the next Pepsi. Right? Take the collar off the dead Pepsi. I don't understand why you're moaning. Collars cost a lot of money, and the information on the tags stays the same. Why do you want my dad to waste money? Sometimes he would forget which Pepsi he was on, right? One time he forgot Pepsi 4 died. He thought Pepsi 5 lived 26 years. So you won't even know what Labradoodle you've got, David. By the way, how come Buster couldn't get out of the house? He's got twice as many legs as you. Yeah. How come Buster couldn't smell the fire? He can smell an ass from 1,000 yards away. So don't go back for your dogs. And never go back for the cat, because the cat set the fire in the first place. That's a fact. Cats have 9 lives, and they would love to waste one of their lives watching you burn to death. Whenever your cat is purring, they're remembering a previous owner succumbing to flames. My son is he's 12, and he had a very tough year this year. He tore his ACL. Yes, he was playing Fortnite. It's a very violent game. And he gets out of surgery, and the doctor said, your son has something called loose knees. And I was like, he got him from me. Yep, that's how I got pregnant in the first place. They just fall apart. I tried to tighten them, but no work. And he goes, he said what I meant was that because of the way your son's knees are constructed, the other ACL is going to tear, and you can't really prevent it. And I was like, wow, that's terrible news. It is interesting, though, because I have already paid a $2,000 deductible for this year. So what I think you're telling me, doctor, is if my son's other ACL were to tear before December 31st, it would be free. And he said, that's not what I'm telling you at all. And I said, too late, that's what I heard. And I immediately signed my son up for 2 basketball teams. I have told him, you have till Thanksgiving to tear that other ACL, or I'll tear it myself on Christmas Day. You're a present to me. He struggles in school. He has ADHD. Those are actually his grades. Yeah. He got 2 D's and H. Sure. And I decided not to put him on medication. I decided instead just to lower my expectations dramatically. Like, I remember when he was born, I remember thinking, wow, my son could be the president of the United States one day. And now, I know he could be the president of the United States. Yes. Very disappointing. My son's a very talented artist. You should see him draw on a math test. Yeah, he can sketch anything but the right answers. I always try to help him out. I read out loud to him. Last year, I read The Diary of Anne Frank to my son, and it was a little bit much. That was when he learned about menstruation. I don't know if you guys remember this, but about 1/3 of the way in to The Diary of Anne Frank, she talks about getting a period, and my son goes, "What is a period?" And I go, "Oh, well, when girls are Anne's age, they start to menstruate, and that means once a month, blood flows uncontrollably out of their vaginas for 4 to 15 days, depending on the girl." And here's the thing, we all know what it is. It's no big deal to us, but to watch someone hear that information for the first time, mwah. Oh my God. Guys, if you don't have kids, go to a park tomorrow. Treat yourself. Find some 10-year-olds and read a medical journal out loud. My kid couldn't even talk. One hand went immediately to his balls, and the other hand went up to block his face to prevent more information about the female reproductive system. And that was like a minute-long reaction. And then he calms down and I pick the book up again and he goes, "Oh man, I hope no more bad things happen to Anne Frank." And that's when I close the book. And I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I made up a different ending to The Diary of Anne Frank. He thinks that she survived the war. I gave this girl a great life, by the way. He thinks she survived the war. He thinks she came to America. He thinks she was married to singer-songwriter James Taylor. He thinks she opened the women's clothing store Ann Taylor Loft. Yeah. And I know, you're like, "Oh, you should have said Ann Taylor Attic," but... Oh, wow, that took you a second, okay. My son makes YouTube videos and they are awful. He films boogers up close, shit's going down the toilet. Oh my God, the adult version of him might be roaming San Francisco right now. I should at least take a picture for him, but he will take a flashlight and aim it right at the camera and flash it on and off, so you get a seizure when you're looking at it, right? And they're 20 to 25 minutes long. They're awful, right? So he ends one of his videos recently. He goes like this. He makes a finger gun, puts it to his temple, and he goes, psh, which I know might seem disturbing, but you've got to believe me, it's the best work he's ever done. I was like, finally, you, the director, have captured what I, the audience, was feeling at that exact moment. I, too, wanted to end my life. Thank you. So then it turns out I am not the only one who watches my kids' videos, so does the school. Yeah, they tried to call me 5 times that day. Now, they couldn't reach me because I had blocked the school's number the previous year. I was being stalked. So they freaked out and they called the police. And that night, 2 cops came to my house for a wellness check. And I didn't even know why. Like, I opened up the front door. I was like, "Oh my God, you heard? I just tried mushrooms for the first time." Get him! And they go, "We're here to see a video your son posted today." They were very serious and angry. And so I pulled up the video. And, in retrospect, I could have fast forwarded to the very end. But I decided to make the cops watch all 26 minutes. Of boogers and farts and poos and strobes. And by the time we got to the end, one of the cops had his actual gun to his temple. Talked him out of it. And then I introduced my son to his newest uncle. Yep. There's quite a few happy endings in that story, guys. My son's father is Mexican. And I was going to name my son Pablo, but then one of my white friends goes, wait a minute, your son's already going to have a Hispanic last name. Maybe his first name should be something more common, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I think I know what she meant because I named my son Mohammed. Look it up, you guys. It's the most common name in the world. Mohammed Martinez, that's my son. He's already been accepted into 9 universities and escorted off of 12 airplanes. He's darker than I am. I don't mean skin color. I mean he loves rape jokes. I'm kidding. I like him too. No, he's darker complected and he's completely obsessed with it. Like one time he goes, Mom, am I white or am I Mexican? And I was like, honey, I don't know how to answer that question. Let's ask a cop. And, we asked the 2 that visited mi casa, and they described him as a Hispanic male, age 10 to 30. And then they called for backup. It's always an interesting thing, though. Like, once I took my son to Arizona with me to a gig when he was like 2 or 3 years old. And I took him in the summertime. And summertime is my son, he gets as dark as he's going to get. He's like full Aztec in August, right? And so we are in a sandbox. It's big white me, little brown him. You know, we're having fun moments. We're making pyramids and pushing virgins off. And there's an old Arizona white lady at the park glaring at us, right? She's like getting angrier and angrier at the sight of us, right? And she finally just goes, "Are you his mom?" So I decided to anger her further. And I go, "No, I'm his nanny." Yeah, we're taking care of them now. Mm-hmm. That old white lady was Arizona Governor Jan Brewer. I want my son to be bilingual. Are there bilingual people here tonight? Yeah. What do you speak over there? Polish. Polish. Oh wow. Are you? Someone went. And rude. I'm sure that's very useful in 2 delis here in the city. I'm gonna learn another language. Which one? The one no one here speaks. Are you originally from Poland? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. Sorry. Ignore me. I want my son to speak Spanish, and so I make him go to Spanish classes. But I also do this thing where I don't let my son speak any English on Sundays. It's a game that I invented. It's called No Inglés Domingo. And how it works is every Sunday, I put my son in a different life-threatening situation. And I make him talk his way out of it in Espanol. Because I believe you aren't fluent in a language until you can save your life in that language. Yeah, this is some real tiger mom shit up here, guys. El tigre madre. So a bunch of domingos ago, we were on a walk. And we walked by a swimming pool, and my son doesn't like to swim, and his knee's all screwed up, so I pushed him in the pool. Let's see what you got, Mohammed. And he immediately defaulted to English. He started yelling help on No Inglés Domingo. As you can imagine, I was livid. I said, yeah, I would love to help you. Dígame en español, rápido. So then my son goes underwater to think. It's so quiet under there, guys, if you ever need to get away. And then he shimmies out of the water like a dolphin, and he goes, "Ayudar!" Now, ayudar is a Spanish word. It means to help. That's the infinitive. That's unacceptable. Guys, when you're drowning in English, do you yell, to help? No, it doesn't make sense, so that's not how you fucking drown in Spanish. I said, mijo, you conjugate that verb properly, or you're gonna die. And guess what? He did it. He goes, ayúdame, puta. If you guys don't speak Spanish, puta is a term of endearment. Something you call your mom when you love her a lot. It's sweet. I am in menopause. Anybody else? Yeah, right on. Do you like it? Oh, is that a guy? Okay. Are you living with a woman in menopause, sir?
It's over.
It's over. Are you a murderer? Wow, you're disturbing on so many levels so quickly. I've gotten instant chills. I'm in menopause, and I guess it's not for you. It's more for the ladies, sir. I know you want to be part of every joke, but I love menopause. First of all, I haven't bled in years. Yeah, I don't even mean from here. I mean, I cut my finger, nothing comes out. Okay, a little bit of semen. That's where it goes. It goes right in your bloodstream. I had no idea. I love menopause. It is so much cheaper. I used to have 12 pairs of period panties. 12. Now I have 1 pair of panties, period. I love menopause. I just bought my first white couch. Yes, I've been afraid to sit on spring colors my entire life. My best friend is 35. She tried to sit on my couch. I go, you get off that. That's not for you. You go to the bleeders bench with the rest of them. I did have a health problem this year. I had an aneurysm in my left iliac artery that's in the pelvis. And the doctor goes, that's a very rare place to get an aneurysm. And usually we only see that kind of aneurysm in elderly men. And I was like, that's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. I'd rather be called a cunt by a baby than told I have the insides of an old man. But they said if it burst, I could die. And so I had to wait 10 days for surgery, and I couldn't fly, I couldn't exercise. I masturbated, but I had to come around the right side. That was a huge inconvenience to me. I've been a left side lady from way back. You guys probably know from my webcam, leftsidelady.org. It's a nonprofit. I'm very stressed out, though. My living situation is stressful. I know why I have an aneurysm. My mother, my 81-year-old mother, moved in with me. It's temporary because she's 81. She wears a DNR bracelet, a do not resuscitate bracelet. I put it on her. She can't get it off. I hear her trying at night. Chewing on it. Good luck, Mom. Dentures don't cut. You guys do not feel sorry for my mom. She's not some cute little old lady, okay? She's difficult to be near. She's a Trump supporter. Whoa. Yeah, not even Donald. Eric. She's very negative. She's always saying, no, no, that's my windpipe. I'm kidding, guys. I love my mom as much as any female comedian loves her mom. I miss my dad. My dad died a couple years ago. I still talk to my dad every single day. In fact, today I said, please come get Mom. Radio silence from that guy. He has never been happier. No one's nagging him. He's surrounded by a pack of colorless black labs. Watching MASH reruns. He is a happy guy. Before he died, though, he had very explicit instructions. He wanted to be cremated, and he said, I want my ashes returned to Ireland, which is weird because he isn't from Ireland. But he goes, his ancestors were his great-grandparents, and he said, I want you to place my ashes on the stone ruin that my great-grandparents left during the famine, and he said it would be a nice way for the Kilmartin family to come full circle, right? So my son and I went to Ireland. It was County Cork, very rural part of Ireland, and the stone ruin was in the middle of a pasture. There were cows around it, and my son and I climbed over the fence. And my intention was we were going to run to the ruin, fling my dad, and then run back. And as soon as we climbed over the fence, the cows started walking towards us, right? And they looked kind of curious. They were just sort of, wondering what we were doing there. They looked like security cows, right? And my son was scared, and I was like, don't worry, they're probably excited to meet an American. And then I realized, they're not all cows. Some of them are bulls. And they're coming towards us quick. So my son and I went right back over the fence. And the cows and the bulls came right up to the very edge of their side of the fence. One of the bulls mounted a cow and started fucking her while looking me directly in the eyes. And that's where we left my dad's ashes. A different way for the Kilmartin family to come full circle. For sure. You guys have been a very nice crowd. I'll tell you, this is why I'm single. You might have your own theories, of course. My ex cheated on me. And I found emails from the other woman, and one of the emails that let me know something was up, the email said, you have a handsome penis. And I was like, he's cheating on me with a blind woman. Because he had been an Eagle Scout. And I read a lot of her emails, and she was younger than me. That sucked. But even worse, she was a terrible speller. I was like, how can you sleep with someone who thinks there's an A in tomorrow? I wrote her an email back written so she could understand it. Feck off, you stupid can't. She knows what I said. It's weird I don't think men and women are super different, but I noticed this. Like, I would tell my female friends my boyfriend cheated, and they would all respond the same. That'll be like, I'm so sorry. Very sympathetic. Then I would tell my male friends he cheated. They also responded alike, but it was always something like, how'd you find out? I hacked into his computer. How'd you figure out his password? It was his name. I gotta go. There's this one Cardi B song. I like Cardi B a lot, right? And she has this one song, I think it's Bodak Yellow, but the lyric is, my pussy glitter as gold. Right? And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, I have never had that kind of genital self-confidence. The closest I ever got to that was with my ex, right after I had my baby. We had sex, and he complained. He goes, you're not as tight down there as you used to be. Yes. And I said, well, it's not that I'm not as tight. It's that I'm finally the right size for a larger penis. All right, that's it for me, you guys. Thanks for coming out. You've been a great crowd. Good night.
Laurie Kilmartin, everybody. Let her hear it. Laurie Kilmartin.